Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. This is going to be for the grand finals of the Waifu Wars community tournament. Remember we ran a couple of semi-final streams a week and a half ago? Anyway, both teams are pretty much ready, arguably ready to start the finals. It's a bit more of a trick organizing 6 people than 2. So that's why the scheduling was a little bit difficult, especially since most of these players are actually serious Apex players as well, so getting weekend time is a little bit more tricky. Anyway, this game is supposed to be happening within the last -5 minutes or so, so we're just getting the players friend added with each other, and then we will pop the stream up as soon as I see that everyone is added and maps are rolled and we are ready to roll. But I've got the stream running now, just in case people want to come in and chat and make their predictions, root for your favorite teams, and whatnot. So on today's stream, we have the grand finals, as I mentioned. So we have Team Ashemar, who advanced over Team Imelda in the semifinals, and that is going to be SanieHarry, Valabar, and Saber. And so far, I believe in this entire tournament, Saber's box has not been revealed. Saber hasn't had to play yet. So we'll get to see if they get to keep that streak alive and go out with a totally secret waifu box. Facing off against them, we are going to have Team Alpha, who we saw defeat Team Angelica in their semifinal match last week. And that is Soleil, KittenOverlord, and Vicelord. And actually, Soleil was the only one who played in the semifinals because they swept the other team. So because it's a King of the Hill style match, the winner stays up and they face the next person from the other team. So Soleil defeated all of their opponents, which means we never had to go on into the roster to KittenOverlord or Vicelord. But I know that KittenOverlord and Vicelord are both here and ready today, so if something unbelievable happens and Soleil goes down, the rest of the team will be ready. Oh, did I get that flipped? Meow? So it was Alpha who beat Imelda and Ashemar who beat Angelica. Okay. I just got them mixed up. It's hard to remember the details of the losers' teams because they've already faded into obscurity in our minds, That's how important and impactful they were. So, Buff Gardner looking for Team Alpha sweep. Looking for that Soleil sweep again. If Soleil wins 6 matches in a row in this tournament, that is pretty impressive. Go ahead, Soleil, we are live. Soleil was waiting for my go-ahead. Probably properly not watching the stream while the match is on. Got to stay focused. And so, yeah, I will take a look here for when I see Soleil pop into a match, and I will also go over to spam. Main chord. Since I know there's at least 1, maybe 2 or 3 extremely buff gardeners over there who want to make sure they don't miss this match. Honestly, don't know how you can be a gardener without being buff. I just pull the weeds in my lawn. It's like I've done 100 squats. All right, so they have rolled a map. Theoretically, both teams have checked their boxes to make sure that they don't have any banned heroes in there. There's some map rolling difficulties. Dreadful Cobra, welcome to the stream. Moondoggy, you need Alpha Team to lose. Okay. Honestly, I expect there to be all kinds of Team v Team beef in the chat today. Every team who lost to one of these waifus basically has to be here to do some good anti-alpha or anti-ash trolling. So far, I'm just seeing lots of people say they need Alpha to win. Is there like a bet going on where if Alpha loses or if Alpha win, like, I thought the only kind of bet was the opposite team has to change their name and stuff, but for anyone who's already eliminated, that shouldn't matter. Other than for beef purposes. Oh, I see a blue screen. Hang on, folks. Frokies. I'm gonna get my Langrisser set up here. Let's pop you over here. Whee! Look at that. So we got some OBS stuff going on. Now we slide you out of the way, and Lang should be there. Beautiful. Alright, so we didn't miss anything. Ooh, we do have a Sigma in here. Oh, this is Saber's box. What? Saber's going first? Okay, so we got Saber as player 1. We are on Gemini Bridge, and Saber is up against Soleil. So let's take a look at these boxes now. Things have changed a little bit. The main thing that's changed is we never saw Saber's box before, so we're getting a look at it now. Ashemar first pick. Obviously, the rules are the waifu has to be picked first. So there's an Archon in here, which we learned earlier that Archon is pretty OP for an allowed pick. We also have Omega, we have SP Sigma, we have Elaine, we have Werner, we have Epsilon, so this is a very male assassin-heavy box. We've also got Zerida, who has an upcoming casting passive that makes her pretty powerful, but she does not have that yet, so she's just a normal Zerida here. Maybe this was the plan all along, Anakin's, was, you know, keep Saber in reserve for almost all running up the tournament and then drop him like a cannonball in the very first game on Team Alpha for the finals. You know, not revealing their secret tech until the end. So yeah, actually even more assassins that have already been banned, with Sherry and Kyra in here. So Saber definitely going to be going for a kill the win cons around the tank kind of strat. I guess probably an appropriate strat, given that you know your opponent is guaranteed to have a first pick tank. So we're basically going to see how Soleil can mitigate this by banning out, like, what are his bans of choice going to be here? Akka is in here kind of as an enabler, like we've got an act again / teleport play with Akka, but Ashemar, your guaranteed first pick waifu, is also something of an enabler, so Akka may be kind of an emergency backup pick there. Ashemar can do pretty good work getting assassins buffed and into position as it is. Okay, whereas Soleil's team has, I mean, we've got some proper waifu assassins over here. Like, we've got Lisa, we've got Tatalia, Alicia, not really an assassin, Kirkia, not really an assassin, but, you know, they have big bows. That's something that assassins do, right? Of course, we've got Mac in here. Mac was played to excellent effect in the semifinals, so we may see Mac stirring the pot a little bit here as well. And then, of course, we've got the cavalry here. The charge of the Centaur Brigade. Anything unusual? This whole tournament's unusual. Quicksilver, you need both of them for bonds? Lambda is a tricky one to recommend because she is really not used for anything. Grenshiel is a good unit, and if you do need her for bonds, then she's worth going after, but that's only a 40% chance to get the unit that you want. Whereas we just had a wishlist banner that you could have put Grenshiel on. But that said, this is a hard time to recommend anyone summon anything because, as you just said, we've got amazing upcoming units, like Ashin's coming up in a week, 2 weeks? and then after that is the Isolde banner, and those are both banners where you want to ideally be able to summon both characters for bond purposes, at least. Maybe you also want to use both units. So honestly, you know, personally, I'd be skipping most banners right now unless it was for a high % chance to lock down a bond that I need for, like, a character that I use for everything. Yeah, I think Ashin needs her banner mate for her bonds. So whether you like the other character on the banner, Hoffman is kind of not great in my opinion, but you want to unlock Ashin's bonds. So unfortunately, we're stuck going after Hoffman as well. Okay, so we are going to get Amadeus in action here. And Soleil is going to have some interesting last pick as well. Scary stuff going on, though, on Saber's side as well. He did get the Omega. And one of the things about Omega is back when Omega was popular, you would kind of build your box to be skilled up enough that Omega wouldn't be threatening. But whereas players are now stuck using, like, S tier and below units, largely below, chances are they haven't, like, fully tuned or scoped out the fact that Saber is going to have Omega in the box at all. But you're probably not fully tuned against Omega, so that's going to be good kill potential there, potentially mitigated by the presence of this Agnes here, but all Saber has to do is kill that Agnes. So as long as he can get in, which the Ashemar, the Florentia, and the Akka all help with, then he can systematically start taking this team apart. So Soleil is going to have to be very strategic about zoning, partly to help keep this team away, but also to make sure he keeps his team and his key units out of Omega's reach. Mac can help with that with his banners, or his, you know, little waypoints, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, we shall see. Players are just going to get their skills and their soldiers prepped whilst we wait. Yeah, that's a good point too. NAFTA is, there should be a wishlist banner up to the Nymph banner, I believe, the Mermaid banner, that happens during the Ashin major update. So, Quicksilver, I would say, like, if getting Ashin's important to you, summon for her first, and then if you happen to get, like, her and Hoffman in your first multi, like what happens to so many people here, not me, on stream though, like in the chat, if that happens to you, super congratulations. Then you can just go to that wishlist banner and wishlist Grenshiel and someone else who's actually valuable that you need, and hopefully get her, like, with a better chance as well. Okay, so we are hopping in now, ready to roll. Meow is calling it for his teammate, Soleil. Believes that Saber has not enough DPS with these three kind of enabler-ish characters. I mean, Ashemar is a DPS too. Akka can be? Probably not against Alpha, and she's set up here mostly as an enabler anyway. So yeah, we have Omega here with his watery troops. He's already got accelerated aid on from Epsilon casting his faction buff there. And now on Soleil's side, Soleil is just currently evaluating his opponent's potential range. Tips for getting more crystals. Honestly, just do... Depends on how far in the game you are, Diamond. Are you in endgame? Because there's a lot of crystals in... I mean, if you're staying up to date on content, there's a lot of monthly crystals. I think we've counted up before. I have a spreadsheet, and it ends up being like 110 to 120 free summons per month. So every month, that's 120 free, totally free summons. That's not counting from special events. It's not counting from any kind of spending whatsoever. No Shrine Maidens on Agnes. Man, Mac's voice acting is really a choice. That was something. I honestly think they needed to go for like a super deep, you know, non-serious like pirate captain voice. Okay, now we got Omega accelerated aided, faction buffed. Now he's been pulled ahead. Gets a Sand Ballad buff. This is an all-in on Omega. The difficulty for Soleil, too, is if he gets himself painted into a corner here, then Saber can just zone him into the fog with the threat of that Omega, wait a couple turns until the map gets smaller, and then start sniping. He also has a couple Actigens loaded up, just in case this is going to be like an Omega sweeps all type of match. So it would be, what do you get? 2 extra spaces of movement from this. And then it increases your skill range by 1, plus you have 1 range from the bow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movement. And then your skill plus 1 from the bow. Is it 4 range, or does it end up being 5 range on the skill? What's the difference between this line and this line? Meow would know right off the top of his head. And that is what Soleil is working out for his battle lines here. I really hate this kind of match when I'm in it myself, and everything hinges on the opening positioning. That's why we saw Soleil just use up essentially 3 minutes of backup time there trying to work out exactly where he's allowed to move. So ending Omega's turn there, that's fine. There's still, of course, the threat of an Actigen, so that could be a little bit of a bait. But ideally, Saber doesn't want to burn the Actigen just for, like, a lulled into a false sense of security play like this. It could be that Saber is just advancing as far as he can for this turn, and then will look to take advantage and pull the trigger potentially multiple times next turn. Sometimes you'll see players do that with Polyol too. Rather than try to load everything up for the turn 1 rush, they'll advance far enough and get into position where they can then, you know, unload everything at the start of the next turn. So with Agnes back here, though, I mean, I know Alpha has a built-in revive of her own. Okay, so Omega gets the rush this turn. And he should be able to get the Actigen next turn. Remember, he also has turn priority. But so far, Soleil has only exposed these big, thick units that have revives. What is her range? 5 blocks? You just hate to be player 2 in this scenario too, because you know you're basically just waiting to see what this Omega is going to do. Akka is able to use her skills here because she'll be able to use her act again on herself, which will create a wolf, and then she will right away be able to do something with that wolf. That could be the teleport act again, or it could be the big boost. Omega is already mobility boosted, so I don't really see her wild power being the play there. Okay, so she's not going to unload any of that stuff yet this turn, though. She gets a wolf ready. Alpha does take Meow's advice and moves, or Soleil moves Alpha into blocking position for this Omega, so it makes it a little bit more tricky for that Omega to get in at the juicy meat of Soleil's team. Cat tile. It reduces mobility reduction when passing near it. So, Apti, we saw Soleil use this to give his team some surprising extra move in the semifinals, which allowed him to snipe. I forget who was on the opponent's team, but yeah, it was kind of a surprise attack. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at when I was looking at her talent range earlier, Meow. Is with Agnes hiding back here, you kind of lose out on the benefit of her revive talent. Because if the rest of your units are too far up, you're not going to benefit from it. That's kind of the pros and cons of poor Agnes, is she becomes a super target for your opponent to try to take them out first. So if you try really zealously to protect her like this, it can limit your positioning. Okay, so Kyra does get up in front. She does catch a breeze as well, so that's good for her. She barely has a revive there, because she is in Omega range right now. These are all things Soleil needs to think about. Ooh, Ashemar tries for it. That would have been a nice, sneaky use of Ashemar to just chuck her out there and get the kill. Does not quite get the first kill on this Kyra. And one unfortunate situation for Soleil, which maybe won't end up being so bad just because things have started, dominoes have started to fall now. But Soleil is really running low on backup time already. And with this much kind of tile counting and careful positioning, not having backup time is really going to hurt. Soleil's going to have to act fast. So hopefully he's really getting into his mind a good view of the battlefield. Okay, and Amadeus goes in and manages to get the full kill on that Ashemar. That does start stacking up the Epsilon a little bit. Ed Martinez, we did not go back in time. This is the Waifu Wars tournament. So there are specific rules for this tournament. You are not allowed to pick any character above, like, I think it's S rank. So all of the, like, great SS and SSS tier characters that are the core meta characters for this season were banned for this tournament. Okay, this Epsilon is gonna try for an Amadeus kill. He does get the first life off that Amadeus. Honestly, a good use of Epsilon. One stack, too. Saber's trying to keep that Omega in reserve as much as possible. Alright, let's see if Kyra's going to be able to take him out before he can do anything. No, not at all. Boomer! With the sub. Thanks for doing the commentary for the Waifu Wars. Things have been really hectic on my side. Well, thank you, Boomer, for the sub. It's good to see you here. Good to see you here whipping out that Jugler credit card emoji. Okay, so, I mean, one thing about this is that the Omega is weakened, so Saber has to be careful about where he can back his Omega up to. He doesn't want to leave Omega in range of possibly being able to just get, like, smoked by a truck like this Alpha. Omega's pretty slippery, though. Like, he teleports back to where he initiated his action, which is going to be right here. So Kyra should be an easy target for him right now. She is on a fort, but she's already hurt, and Omega has his skill. So he takes her out, no problem. Beams back here. And now let's see where he's going to end this action, if Saber's going to be able to load him up. No. Okay, he's going to run him back and hide him. So I would not expect to see a big act again play necessarily on this turn until these units start to get closer. Although, like Meow said at the very beginning of the match, now Saber runs into the issue of eventually having to kill, like, this Alpha. Who's he going to do that with? If not a hiding, protected Omega. I guess that's what this, like, 2-stack Fortress Epsilon is for. We'll see. It would be very interesting if we could see, like, a true Alpha carry in the Waifu Wars. Well, Ed, you tuned into a really good match. You chose the right match to tune in for, because this is the finals. So these are the two best teams that advanced. This is Team Ashemar, so both teams have to first pick the waifu that they're representing. So first pick Ashemar on this side, first pick Alpha on this side, and it's a King of the Hill style tournament. So whoever wins this match is going to stay up to face off against the next player on the roster for the other team. Oh, we are going to get the Omega, the loaded up Omega Act Again play. I mean, I guess he has lots of reach. But who's he going for here? Is he just going to, like, try to keep chipping away at that Amadeus? Here's an AoE. This is going to take Epsilon's shield. Not too much more than that. But chipping Epsilon out of that shield is going to be important for any future Soleil plays. Okay, so there's another Amadeus life down. Yeah, I think you're right. I think ultimately Saber wants Amadeus out of there, not just because of his map positioning, but also because he's another, like, big, thick unit who can just punch that Omega. And Saber wants as few Omega threats up there as possible. Alright, Mac charging in with the Tile Surge. What are we going to have on our little cat plates? Just another waypoint. A big dramatic action from Captain Mac. He should get skins that change the look of this. What would be a good cat-themed sprite for the waypoint marker? So we should see an act again on the Omega here. Yeah. He did not want Omega sitting out front there. And remember, if Omega secures the kill, then he can teleport back to his starting positioning. So we could get rid of this Amadeus here now, and then beam back to safety. Ooh, that looked close! When the numbers go slow like that, it's like, is it gonna actually kill? It's like a Price is Right, big spinny wheel kind of thing. Alright, and Omega beams back to safety. This wolf here looks like he's also being used possibly as a body blocking wolf. But he will come in handy later on. We've got the wolf versus the cat. And again, Agnes way back here, really just extending her talent to Captain Mac now. Soleil with 5 seconds left to make this action. What's it gonna be? 1 second left. Is this an auto action from Captain Mac? Probably not. I think that was the right play, but that was very limp. Very limp. Yeah, oh, I agree. Omega is pretty scary in this mode. Zuko, welcome to the chat. The wolf sacrifice to help out Epsilon. Epsilon now fully stacked. Not full health, though. Ooh, Alpha counter-killed against this very thick Fortress Epsilon. Comes back to life. All her shields are gone now. Epsilon taking the opportunity to charge in with full stacks and 3C to kill that Agnes. And now we just have a no extra life Mac, a no extra life Alpha versus basically Saber's whole team except for the waifu. So poor Ashemar charging out early and getting sacrificed. A true beacon of leadership for the rest of the team, let's say that. Akka with over 2,000 attack. So, I mean, I think Saber obviously has enough weapons here to chip away at the rest of Soleil's units. We've already seen how monstrous this Epsilon can be. So even if Omega is not able to one-shot these units, which for poor old Mac he is, so if Alpha's not going to be able to carry against this entire team, you know, Saber's just going to be able to chip away at her. Just throw a chip here, throw a chip there. Let's see what this Alpha's made of. That does not look too promising. At least she has a little bit of healing, and she's on terrain. But we've already seen this Epsilon really devastate her. So, as long as Saber just kind of waits for the right moment to come in with him, he's fully stacked up now. He's going to want to refresh his faction buff soon. Alright. So, the first time I've seen Soleil lose on stream. First time I've seen Saber at all. So Saber's going to stay up versus the next member of Team Alpha. And I'm not 100% sure who that is, so let's check their Discord. I believe that Vice, I mean, we've seen Meow in the chat of this stream, so we know he's here, but I believe I saw Vice earlier in Discord. So everyone who's been betting on Team Alpha, go ahead and cash in your chips. Presumably the teams are now organizing themselves. For the semifinals, I heard in advance who the next opponent was going to be. But I did not see anything like that for this match, so I assume it's happening. Boomer comes out swinging, celebrating for Team Ashemar with a gifted sub for JJWF. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the sub squad, courtesy of Boomer. I'm gonna prod these guys. Looks like Vice is stepping up. And just checking now if he and Saber are already friendos. Might as well do that during the tournament, right? Vice rolling the map in the meantime. I'm not going to give you any spoilers about what the map is, but let's just say it's a boring one. LW Gaming, welcome to the stream. I hope you're ready for some Waifu Wars finals. Because that's what we're about to see more of. With Vicelord stepping up to the plate, Vice should have an interesting box. I mean, I believe he would have had his alpha built already anyway, as part of his Empire team. We've watched Vice streams, or we've watched Vice matches on this stream in the past, in like previous playoffs and stuff. And he usually plays a very interesting Empire box. He loves his fully built Vargas. I'm sure he's enjoying SP Bernhardt this season. And I think I remember playing against Vice, and he had his alpha in his box a couple seasons ago. So chances are we should see like a good alpha here, not necessarily just a meme-built one specifically for this tournament or for waifu purposes. But we've already seen what Saber is capable of. And one of the rules of the tournament is that you're not allowed to change your box between games. So that means Vice is going to be up against that assassin box that we just witnessed. So it will be very interesting to see what Vice with his Empire waifu box. So obviously the OP units that he might be used to using, like Burn and Leon, won't be in that box. But Vargas should be. Who else is like a S tier or below Empire unit? Wouldn't it be cool if we got to see Leonhardt again? I miss Leonhardt. Okay, it does not look like they have friended each other or started the game yet. I'm just scrolling up and down on my friends list to see if this match is going to play. Who else is on here? Most people are probably gearing up for real Apex soon. Boomerang, you're on here, rocking that Captain Mac avatar. Honestly, probably should have had everyone friended before these matches started. But I think Vice probably thought that Soleil was going to sweep again and didn't need to add anyone. Hoping for Ultimuller plays. Oh yeah, that's a good call, Dregan. Yeah, hoping for Ultimuller plays. That would be good. I know my brother still has Ultimuller in his main box, and every time he gets a win with some kind of like Ultimuller scoop and poop play, he always sends me the match, because he's really proud of that character. And maybe wins with Ultimuller are a little bit fewer and farther between than you would normally hope. Well, I'm still not seeing anything here, and Vice seems like he's kind of gone incommunicado in Discord as well. Maybe his team is gonna need to pick things up for him. How are they in BP? Is Saber not on my list? I have a Saber. Is Vice not on my list? Maybe I was the problem. Oh, they don't have Spectate on. Okay, they have to change that. Taking this tournament seriously. Alright, so they will get out, fix their settings, and then they're going to start the game again on the same map. Oh, purr. Meow, sounds like Meow's playing on the Soda account in Apex today. With your fully 10-cast Roga. Always nice to see that. Alright. Let's go, Saber. There we go. Streaming in main cord, the Soda account. Yeah, I'll definitely tune in for that, Meow. Okay, here we go. Here's FSN Saber. Waiting to be spectated. Yeah, they might have to open a couple games just to make sure they get, like, player 1, player 2 correct on the same map. So even if we see a little spectate button show up right now, it might be for one of the games that they have to quit out of. But we'll try to click it every time. In case it ends up being real. Hey, here's Soda right now, Meow. Is that you on currently setting up his account? I expect to see some true first-pick Roga waifu type play. Okay, we are on Hidden Gorge. We know that's the right map. And they've already started picking and banning, so we know this must be the right player formation as well. So here we are, player 1 Vicelord versus player 2 FSN Saber on the Hidden Gorge. There's the first picks of the waifus. There's that Ultimuller. We do have Iris in the box. We have Caroline in the box. Iris getting second picked as well. We do have Theon in the box as well, and Julian. So we've got a little dark line here with Licorice as well. So we'll see what Vice can make happen with them. Every other player, or every other character here, kind of boring. I mean, I guess Clotaire would have been an interesting Empire pick as well. But no Vargas, sad, sad, sad. Azusa, boring. Lucretia, boring. But strong units for this. Like, these are strong tier units. IBC as well. It's kind of crazy that they're like the top tier units in this tournament. And Saber, we've seen Saber's team already, and it is that frightening team full of assassins. Vicelord possibly reacting to what we saw versus Soleil in the last game, getting rid of the Omega and the Epsilon early, so he does not want to have to deal with those units. Alright, Saber is really looking to capitalize on these kind of hit-and-run plays. So it was Omega in the last game, but potentially getting some hit-and-run play in with Cherie in this game. She can pop a unit and then run back. The buffest Gardener is going to be looking for some Theon and or Caroline play. Fortunately, Caroline is gone, but Theon potentially still in the action. I was not aware that Vice had a built Theon. I know there are a few main quarters who occasionally whip their Theon out. Did not know Vice was one of them, but Theon and Julian both could potentially be interesting. One thing I glossed over earlier is that Vice also has Omega in his box. It's not a box that has as much like Omega, over-the-top Omega support as what Saber had in his box in the last game, but Iris Teleport could be a scary thing, basically no matter who Vice gets on his team. Sanie, welcome to the chat. Cheer on your team so you don't have to show up and play. We'll see. Saber, this was the first time for us seeing Saber's box, and now maybe Saber's going to be the one who gets to play all 3 games. We shall see. We shall see. Saber already locking down that player 2 act again play, so potentially something to be used on this Cherie, or whoever he gets and decides to use as a carry. Something like Archon, something like Elaine could also be scary here. Sigma casting skill is already out, that is right. Yeah, I was looking for Wooper games last week because I wanted to see... I know Wooper is one of the players who still uses Sigma, so I wanted to see, you know, what's Wooper doing? What's Wooper doing with this Sigma? I mean, that's not super accurate. Sigma's casting skill does make a big difference for Sigma. The problem is that Sigma's just not great baseline to begin with. There are other other characters who do Sigma's job but better. I would say Sigma's casting passive is better for him than Iris's will be for her. Sigma's getting banned. I would honestly be surprised not to see... Well, both of these are really good picks left for Saber, though. Because if he's setting up units for big dynamic plays, the T-Jess, yeah, that teleport on that T-Jess is potentially going to enable some nice dynamic play. That said, Buff Gardener On player one side, we are getting the Theon that you always wanted. So we're going to get a Theon and Omega play, potentially, on Vicelord's side. On Saber's side, though, I mean, Chery's not as scary as she used to be, but for the format of this tournament, where she's not necessarily facing off against the huge meta threats with tons of revives, Chery might have some kills going on here. Especially when you add an Act Again and a Teleport into the playbook. So buff someone with this Ashemar and then get them into the action. Vicelord, though, playing a little bit more of a comfortable game. He's got a tank, he's got a healer, and he's got a Lucretia that he can hide behind his tank and try to do some long-distance Lucretia shenanigans with, while possibly zoning or at least mixing things up with these annoying assassins. So this will be an interesting matchup, two very different playstyles. I think Saber is again going to be hoping to load up these important DPS and basically try to kill around the alpha to start. So we will let them get their skills and soldiers and positioning all selected while we wait to load into the Hidden Gorge. Right, here we go. Alpha with the Dark Guards. Shinobis on Omega. We've got Mass Attack and Sanction. And a totally normal Iris. So we do have the Bado raid on this Chery. A full support T-Jess. I mean, she's got her 3C. So 2 strengthens. That is to make up for having no buffs. You can use each of your little supportive casters here to strengthen your main attackers. Strengthen, not great on Archon though, typically. Okay, just positioning and getting Mass Attack ready. Vice gonna play back, gonna play it a little bit slow, which is probably good. Just get set up, get everything ready, see what Saber's gonna open with, and then respond accordingly. Rush on the Archon. So we may see this Archon either pulled ahead or teleported ahead. Once it becomes clear that Vice's threats have taken their action. But then, who do you kill? Daniel, welcome to the stream. You're just in time for Game 2 of the Waifu Wars. Finals. So, Saber won the first game. Oh, we don't even need to see Archon sent forward. He's ready to go right now. He's going to pull this Omega out of guard range, and then he'll be able to kill the Omega. I was trying to see if he could get around to that Iris, but I don't think he really particularly cares about the Iris. Killing that Omega right out of the gate is a nice boost for Saber. And Saber does not have enough DPS left to be able to kill both Archon lives now. Maybe at the start of next turn. That, though, like I was saying before Game 1, that's the scary thing about Archon in this Waifu Wars meta, is that there's not a ton of, like, the anti-displacement tank units. I mean, obviously Hilda's not there at all, so basically you ban Archon, or hope that you have some other... What other weapon do you have? Like, the other weapon is typically... Turtle boxes will bring a lot of electric headgears, but no one's really playing Turtle in this tournament because the units aren't there to support that game style. So, most of the, like, Turtle tech isn't in play either. It makes Archon really powerful. So Theon really just using his spinner talent to chip this Archon down a little bit. Yeah, that's true. IBC still in play. I think IBC is one of the stronger overall units for Waifu Wars. Not just because of Archon either, but because of that effect that you get when you shave off the top of the meta. The kind of like S-tier people end up being quite strong. I don't know, maybe Theon thought that being farther away was better than being underguard. Yeah, he might have been trying to outrange what he sees as an incoming... She would still have to be teleported in, though. And if she's teleported in, then she can reach the Theon. She's ignoring guard anyway. At least on her first hit. So if she wanted to, she could bounce off this and then just hit the Theon with her 3C. Yeah, so Vice has no counterplay to a teleport play here. Might as well just send in the Sherry. Absolutely no reason not to. So if Sherry wants to, she can pop the Golem and then run around and kill Theon. Actually, no. Theon's under guard now, isn't he? Yeah. Well, pop the Golem and then run away. So it is a Scepter of Divinity on Sherry, going for that sneaky extra range. Do you want to risk it? Do you want to risk popping that 3C damage on this alpha, or do you want to just run away and live to see another day? Saber's deciding. Yeah. The hit and run tactics, too strong on Sherry, but we'll see what a golemless Lucretia and a Theon are able to do against this team now. So Vice with turn priority, obviously. Do we know if Vice's alpha is immune to stun or not, Meow? Maybe we shouldn't be giving player recon on the stream, but that was just a thought. Maybe Saber wasn't sure and didn't want to risk it. Soda, I hear your account's going to be involved in some intense matches later today. Looking forward to seeing those. Alright, opting to get some big damage and debuffs out there with Theon to start this turn. Largely negating the Archon. Almost killed him. Can he pull this back through Archon to secure that kill? We've also got a muted Ashemar here. And a debuffed Sherry. Let's see how much this helps. Wow, that's actually strong healing. Okay, it doesn't help Archon too much. Did remove the silence on the Ashemar. Shuri able to reach. If she wants to go in and try for that 3C now. She's not going to get her act again, though. So it would literally just be a dump the 3C on Alpha if she does choose to go in. That's a kind of might as well take the first life off this Archon since he's sitting on my doorstep move. If he doesn't move the Archon back, it's an easy kill for, like, Iris, for example. You may not want to use the Iris right away, though, because whatever's coming in here... Yeah, okay, so he does use up his healer action, which means he's not going to be able to heal up Alpha from whatever comes his way next. So we could potentially see... What do you have up? Your magic shield right now? No, that's the physical shield. So Saber has a combo option. But he may want to save it until Shuri can act again. You know, wait till next turn, and then send your weapons in again. So Shuri could go for the Lucretia kill this turn. Not this turn, at the start of next turn, I mean. When she'll have Shadow Raid back, and she'll have her Act Again back. So if I'm Saber here, I just hang back somewhere that one of these is not going to be able to, you know, totally obliterate Shuri, which isn't too far. Yeah. And now, after Vicelord does something this turn, run in, try to assassinate that Lucretia, and then either run back or just put the rest of my damage on Alpha. To prepare Alpha for T-Jess coming in. Okay, Theon trying to weaken that T-Jess before it happens. Wonder if Saber's gonna go for the Lucretia or the Theon. Lucretia's a good target because she hasn't acted yet, so it steals her turn entirely. But without the Golem, she's not as much of a threat. She's kind of glued to the Alpha. Whereas we've seen Theon running out and chucking a bunch of huge AoE chip damage forward. So Saber may be tempted to get rid of him now. What is Shuri's kill potential with the Scepter of Divinity and Angels? We'll see. We know she killed a Golem. Here comes Alpha, taking the initiative to try to put some hopefully meaningful damage on this. This Tejas is in rough shape. She is hurt and she is going to take a bunch of Theon damage soon. So maybe we see an Alpha carry in this match? Okay, the Cherie is going to go in for Theon. The 3C does not kill. It just stuns him. And because she chose to start with the 3C rather than the Shadow Raid, she put herself in position where she can't act again. So Cherie exposed. Could have gone for a Shadow Raid from safety to set that kill up. If you were gonna invest all in and not act again, could have gone for a Shadow Raid to weaken him up and then come into this position to 3C to finish him off. Interesting. Oh yeah, should I have animations on for this? I had them off again because I always have them off for my own games. But if people are interested in simply spectating animations, I'll happily turn them back on again. Act again play on this Ashemar, hopefully in a bid to save that Cherie, either by finishing what she started, or by some strength in numbers strategies of getting them in there. We shall see. Tejas going first. Joins Cherie. Takes some chip damage. Gonna be trying to get rid of this Lucretia. Oh, barely misses the kill. Lucretia left with 900 hit points. This robot, that's Iris. She drives in a big steampunk mech for some reason. She's an SR collab healer from the Sakura Wars collab. Okay, so Ashemar is able to easily finish off that last 900 HP on the Lucretia. And now here we are at the start of a brand new turn. Vicelord is down to a still very healthy Alpha with his little pet healer, and unfortunately a stunned Theon. But we know that his Alpha is a potent creature, so I mean, I think she could probably just punch this Tejas if she wanted to. But is that going to be the best course of action? Maybe we want to get Theon under guard? Although Cherie still has access to the Shadow Raid, which, you know, maybe against an 80% Theon, even though he is on terrain. Maybe that secures the kill? Yeah, Cobra, the chances of them rerunning Sakura Wars again, very small. Sakura Wars is one of those few collabs that has already actually gotten a rerun. So we've definitely never seen a collab get multiple reruns yet. We have seen them rerun several of them in original release order, up to, you know, whatever, Deedlit or whatever it was that they kind of stopped doing them at. But the fact that Sakura Wars is already one of those means I would not expect to see them get another rerun before like all of the other collabs that we've had since then. So, you know, if you're waiting for Iris, I think you're going to be waiting for another 5 years. Vice is going to make a go of it with this alpha, though. Yeah, Quicksilver, the Overlord units are much more likely than Sakura Wars, at least. Overlord would be the second next collab in line for a rerun after Trails of Cold Steel, so it should, if they do continue rerunning collabs, Cold Steel would be next. Or if they do continue running them in order, at least. And then Overlord would be after that. Cherie actually putting up good damage on that alpha too, so if Vice is hoping for an alpha carry here, okay, able to run the Cherie back, and then we're going to get some healing as well. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Vice. Yeah, I agree, Zuko. Losing not just the Omega positioning, because it's kind of hard to gauge with all the little mobility boosters and, you know, Saber had a teleport that he still hadn't used at the start of that game, but sending in that Archon on turn 1 really put Vice on his heels. So we are now going to get ready for the third part of the potential Saber sweep, and that is going to be against KittenOverlord, aka Meow Sensei's alt account. Vice put up a good effort there, showed a really strong alpha, trying to hold the team together. Not quite successful. And we are going to have Saber going up against Meow. Saber on the Discord says they need 5 mins. So it's going to be a 5-minute break time. Let's see, what can we look at? What can we look at for 5 minutes while we wait for Saber to get back? Yes, unfortunately, Daniel, Soleil lost in Game 1. Do I have any replays that are interesting? No, they are gone. Oh well. Time for a proper Mac Gary. Uh-oh. Meow is ready to lay the Mac smackdown in the chat. Right, let's sound off in the chat while we're waiting for Saber to get back from making tea, or whatever the heck he's doing. Spending 5 minutes befriending Meow Sensei. I guess it does take a long time to get a cat to warm up to you. Sound off in the chat who you think is going to win this next match. Not the overall tournament, because we still have some players to go if Saber goes down. But this next match, we've got KittenOverlord versus Saber, and we know Saber's box. The thing is, we know that Meow Sensei has a very deep understanding of Omega, as an Omega user himself. So possibly the element of surprise is not as much there as it was for Meow's teammates. Buff Gardner, hoping for a reverse sweep in the chat, hoping for Meow to come in as third and take out the rest of Team Ashemar. We shall see. I mean, it's possible. Trying to keep my eye on all the chats here. Okay, Saber did not take 5 minutes like he thought he was going to. By my reckoning, he took 2 minutes. So we should have game 3 on the go very soon. One thing I'm going to do, I may need to prep my studio for the presence of Dobermans. Mrs. Kong is going out to a thing. So the Dobermans, I'm going to be Doberman sitting during this match, potentially. Or within like the next 20 minutes. So we'll see how fast the rest of this tournament goes. But I'm going to need to clear up some Doberman seating area over there in just a moment. I think I'll do it now, though, while there's not a game on. I'll be right back. Alright, that ought to do it. We should be Doberman safe. Let's see if they started their match. Where are you at, Saber? Nope. Okay, they just rolled map. We missed nothing. Oh, they're not down here yet, Ace Knight. I was just making it safe for them. If I know the Dobermans, if they do have to come down here, they are going to immediately make their presence known, so we won't have to worry about that too much. Yeah, all I needed to do, I usually have like a light that's behind me, so I had to get rid of that because I didn't want them crashing into it if they're getting feisty. And, also, more cushions. I have like a studio couch here, which is kind of weird, but while I'm working, sometimes I like to like lay down and read stuff. So that's also good for Dobermans, so I cushioned that up a little bit. So here we are with Game 3. FSN Saber as player 1 against KittenOverlord, and we are on the Winter Hideaway. Now, we're well acquainted with Saber's box by now, so let's take a look at KittenOverlord. We just lost Clotaire. So we're going to have Alpha coming out first here, obviously. But then we have Agnes, we have SP Matthew, we have Julian, we have Dog, we have Helena. That's a very interesting choice. We have Theon, we have Captain Mac, presumably just as a mobility enabler for some of these AoEs. Might have to crack another beverage here soon. So, Kitten looking to play something akin to his usual Apex playstyle, which is like AoE rush-ish. Since this is Meow's ult, he has kind of relied on, in order to get into Apex fast, a strategy that Meow is pretty good at playing with less strong accounts, which is all-in AoE. So we'll see if he's able to make that work against Saber's super strong box. So it'll be interesting to see two completely different playstyles if Meow is even allowed to pick down his AoE line versus Saber's assassin box. Yeah, that's right, JB Famine. We have a lot of dudes in both boxes. But as long as the waifus are the generals, that's really all that matters. And this box even has both of Alpha's pets, a cat and a dog. Alright, so Saber securing that Florentia again. This is the third game in a row that we've seen Saber bring out Florentia. Really likes her boosting potential. Kitten deliberating. What does Kitten not want to face? Doesn't want to face the Elaine. Or the Epsilon. He knows he's not going to be able to ban out all the assassins. He does take out a faction buffer, though. Gets his own Agnes into play. Second pick Agnes against an assassin box is a nice move, because it means even if someone like Omega does come in and take a life off someone, you're getting a revive and Omega's not able to teleport back. So it does shave one of the edges off the Omega threat, at least a little bit. Alright, Saber brings out the Omega anyway, though. I mean, we did see an Omega versus Agnes matchup in Game 1, and that went well for Saber. Meow may choose to position differently against this Omega. Saber also had Epsilon in that match. Epsilon and Akka in Game 1. So things are already slightly different now with the Epsilon out of play. And Kitten getting his own Omega in there as a counter threat. Counter Omega. Saber still has the Zerida here as an option to faction buff Omega if he wants. So, I mean, I know I keep saying that Epsilon was banned. Obviously, that's not the only thing Epsilon gets used for. Since Epsilon actually kind of was Saber's carry in the first game, he ended up being quite the killing machine. Okay, Werner as well. So looks like we may have an assassin versus assassin battle here. Meow going with this Omega means that he's really kind of run low on AoE threats. He's not going to be looking to overwhelm with AoE now. But he's going to be looking to secure better value trades with his units all having more lives than Saber's units, thanks to this Agnes. So Julian can kind of do both. Get you a Julian who can do both. AoE and snipe. And we're getting Akka again, and Captain Mac again. So we're seeing not quite a replay of the first game, but there are certain familiar elements back from the first game. Saber's team is almost the same, except with a Werner instead of an Epsilon. Ooh. Excuse me, I didn't sleep at all last night because one of my pups, she has an infection on her skin. So she was up late last night, not feeling very well because of her antibiotics, so I also did not sleep. Yeah, and the other elements that are a kind of a rehash of Game 1 is that we're also going to have an Agnes and Captain Mac on this side. So the main difference being that Meow's main DPS here are going to be Omega and Julian, as opposed to the Kyra and Amadeus from the first game. So we'll see if Meow is going to be able to leverage these very distinctly non-waifu, old, disgruntled, white-haired males to his advantage. Okay. Ooh, the Apex window has started too, so after this tournament, I'm gonna go and get some losses. I'm changing my box this week. I have some new trickery to pop in there. Fanguards on Werner, I like it. We also have, oh, Blade of Freedom. Unable to use passive skills. That should not impact the revive that you get from Agnes talent, because you're getting it from Agnes, not from your own skill. Everything else looking fairly normal there. Oh, interesting. We have the older double AA style of Omega here. So that's not the, like, skill Omega. Okay. Action to Saber. Let's see how he wants to set up his threat. In Game 1, he pulled his Omega forward right away, but he didn't end up pulling the trigger until the start of turn 2. So we'll see if he's going to put that forward pressure on Meow here by getting Omega right up into his face. It's a little bit difficult when you're being counter-zoned by a double act again Omega, because you can't move up too far or your Omega is just going to get Omega'd. Yeah, ATN Saber had the super secret box, and it may have been because their plan as a team all along was to just unchain Saber for the finals and let him go, because so far Saber has won the first 2 games, eliminating the rest of Meow's team. Saber clearly taking some time here to consider what Meow's counterattack can look like. Remember, Mac also has the option to mitigate some mobility reduction for your team. So Saber is having to be extra careful counting someone like Omega's tiles. Doesn't want to accidentally move in too far and then get surprised by Mac. You don't want to accidentally be a recipient of the Mac smack. Okay, pulling Werner forward instead. Maybe we're going to see defensive stance Werner hang out on one of these trees for the entire match. Oh, it's freezing in here. I almost need some Dobermans in here to generate some Dober furnace warmth. Actually, how would I ever know? Okay, route marker goes up after some extremely annoying voice acting. Meow is here to play head games. I just love the fact that 2 of the 3 players on Team Alpha fielded Built Max. Just gonna quickly take a screenshot here of where Meow said in the chat, time for a proper Mac carry. Now Saber's the one getting low on backup time. He's spent a lot of time considering and counting this Omega tiles. Down to 110 seconds on turn 1. So his Omega still in reserve here as the kind of zoning threat to prevent Meow from moving up too far, because he does have a couple act again options, or at least the threat of a couple act again options. I don't think Saber wants to burn those right away, but he's telling Meow that he can if he needs to. If Meow gets too close, or if his win con in Omega gets too aggressive, then he can burn skills and melt them down. Okay, Wild Power on turn 1. That's a lot of mobility for a Werner, who could potentially be in attack stance right now. Okay, gets the Agnes up into position where everyone can benefit from her revives. With potential sneaky bait, I think this Omega is in Omega range right now. But he has a revive from Agnes. Would the Shinobis finish him off? Oh, we're getting the act again on the Werner instead. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Kitaru. I keep forgetting that Omega is skill dependent. I've just been taking it for granted that he kills whoever he wants in this tournament because everyone's skill is so shit. But that obviously doesn't include Omega. So instead we are getting Werner, who gets to ignore guard on whoever he... Well, he might not even... He might just smoke Alpha. Alright, Kitten is going to unleash his Omega before things get too muddy next turn. Possibly going for the emotional damage early kill on the waifu. Saber lost Ashemar in game 1 as well, and it did not really affect his morale too much. Alright, Omega runs far, far away after getting that kill. And that is basically how you use Omega. Launch your skill from as far away back as possible. Get some nice dangling killage, and then run all the way to the back of the map. So he's able to use that combo again next turn as well, because Cold Steel will then bring the cooldown of his Lone Shadow back, and he can kind of go from there. Okay, so this Werner is going to go on the Alpha. That takes her own first talent life. So she is going to be shieldless from now on. She still has the Agnes revive. So use her own talent revive first. That should put him in defensive stance now, right? When you don't get a kill with your 3C, you automatically go into defensive stance. Okay, Omega just goes in to finish off the Alpha, and the Shinobis do the rest of the job of cleaning up that Agnes revive. This Omega is going to want to run back to give Werner some space, and also to get out of threat range. And so far what we've seen in this match is Meow's Omega killing Saber's waifu, and then Saber's Omega killing Meow's waifu. That was actually, I gotta give Meow credit. He said to get ready for Mac carry, and Mac fully took down a defensive stance Werner there. Oh, these Shinobis are doing work, though. Omega just teleports right back to the starting line. Mac buried. Meow still has his Omega too, though, so this is really starting to look like it's going to be an Omega showdown. One scary thing for Meow, though, I mean, he has an Agnes on his side, but that has been shown to be truly ineffective at preventing Omega kills, because the Shinobis are just cleaning them all up. So Agnes not really going to be doing anything, but for his side, Saber has a couple of really good Omega enablers. We've still got Act-Agains coming from this, we've still got Act-Agains coming from this, so it's kind of like Meow is facing a 3 Omegas versus 1 Omega battle here. I guess it kind of depends on what he can get out of his Julian. Is Julian going to be able to do anything? Yeah, the cards, I mean, Saber has the cards for sure, because he gets to see what Meow does here. See what his positioning looks like before he commits any kind of act again. This is just kind of a desperation glow hammer. Unless you're going to be killing these, it's not really helping that much. I guess what it does do is it gets some injured units to probably help speed up this Julian. But Saber kind of saw that, killed off the wolf, so now there's only 1 injured unit instead of 2. So that slows the Julian back down. It was a good try by Meow to poke a couple things just to give Julian that extra little boost. I mean, he does have 6 move, but look how far back Saber's team is. Really far back. Okay, Meow is going to have a tricky positional game to play here. Because Saber's mobility and reach is more than it looks like. Alright, he's getting Rush on this Omega first. Honestly, the only real hope for Meow is to kind of keep his Omega far enough out of this Omega's range. Hope that Saber goes in for one of these, and that he can then reach it with his own Omega. And that's what Saber's using all his backup time, is counting to make sure that whatever he kills, he can get away from Meow's Omega. The Omega versus Omega brain-busting games. Thankfully, Zilong has not thought fit to provide us with any kind of mobility indications on the map. So if we want to figure that out for ourselves, we basically have to do all the hard work of counting. Which I'm not going to be doing every turn. I do not have backup time because I'm just a mere streamer, but I also do not have backup patience. So we'll just see what they do. Agnes no longer responsible for reviving, so she's just going to be chucking some healing and buffs around, and also hoping that eventually she can poke Saber's team again with one of her AoEs. Saber's just still hanging back. He wants to force Meow in a little bit more. I mean, we still have a couple turns worth of fog before that really becomes a factor, but this act again that he has in his back pocket, his secret weapon, is not so secret weapon, and he wants to make sure he uses that at the right time. I hate to say it to Meow because he's a friend of the channel, but I secretly am kind of rooting for Saber just because it means I will not have to talk as much longer. Since my poor sleep-deprived throat is clearly on the fritz here now. If I knew American Sign Language, it would be pretty cool, because I could sign the rest of this match. Maybe I should take classes. Wouldn't it be neat to have, like, a closed captioning and a little Kong in the corner signing for my own stream? Alright, let's, for the most part, let this one play out, since we know what the win condition is for both teams. There's not much sense in picking over the potential tactics with a fine-tooth comb at this point. So she gets tokens when an enemy dies. I thought I saw her tokens go up when Aka's wolf killed itself. Maybe I was just imagining things. Okay, Saber, this little forward position on Omega certainly looks like getting ready for something. It's when anyone dies. Okay, that certainly makes more sense. So there could still be potential sneaky act again token recovery here. Saber makes a wolf play. See, winning strategy says when enemies die. But maybe it's somewhere else. She used more tokens rushing Omega again anyway, so that is not going to happen unless we kill 3 wolves for some reason. Okay, and Agnes gets her poke, which means we have 3 injured enemies here, potentially enabling this Julian. Oh, he reaches for sure now. Unless you can fully heal that off. Okay, so Saber taking this last-ditch opportunity to rush in now with this Omega. Ooh, yes, does get the Julian kill. So that nips that in the bud, as the old-timers used to say. Omega is going to teleport back. If Saber's lucky, run out of Meow's Omega range. Oh, the Florentia just gets absolutely blasted by this AoE, though, and now Meow's Omega is not the main threat here. We have another AoE coming from this Agnes. Saber does have turn priority, though. So it's possible that this super injured and debuffed Omega is going to kill this Agnes. Meow can't reach, can he? I don't think so. He's just getting himself into prime position here. So whoever this Omega goes for, he has to face a counterattack. Either from Omega or from this hammer. What are you doing, Akka? This is not gonna kill. This should kill. Omega down. And now Meow's Omega is going to be able to easily kill that Akka. Oh, wow. Okay, so Meow with the big brain outrange Omega battle. Very exciting game, especially in that end game. It really came down to exact positioning and who killed who. Yeah, rip Kong voice. That means we do have another game ahead of us. So the Buff Gardener's hopes and predictions of a reverse sweep are at least still alive here now, as Meow takes out the first member of Team Ashemar. Saber down, so GG's to Saber for going this far and taking a big chunk out of Meow's team. But now Meow is going to stay up against the next member of Team Ashemar. Let's see who that is going to be. Could be Valabar, could be SanieHarry. Everyone pumped about that Agnes, showing that she's more than just a revive bot. I'm actually going to take you up on that, Anakins. If Meow reverse sweeps, I want some cabbage. I want some cabbage for sure. I'm going to make me some coleslaw. Alright, the teams are saltily arguing in the Discord. Raven is saying that Valabar is not available today. Which means I think it's going to have to be SanieHarry. Once we get into pick ban, I'm going to sneak off to the little Doberman's room for a quick break and a top up on this, because I'm clearly going to need it. I've seen Raven say that twice, that Valabar is not available today, but then I've also seen someone from their team say that they do have their full team in action, so we'll see who is correct. Yeah, Anakin, that's, I have some ginger tea upstairs that is just waiting for me to finish this. I wanted to nurse a nice tea while I'm playing my own Apex matches after I was done streaming. I should have had some on stream, though. I never thought of that. I'm clumsy enough that I didn't want to spill tea all over the place. Okay, we are looking for... Okay, it looks like SanieHarry, so it's going to be Theonomy versus KittenOverlord. And they have rolled a map. And I do have... Alright, here we go. KittenOverlord as player 1 this time, and the Agnes insta first banned. We're going to be on Gemini Bridge, and on Theonomy's side, yes, we do have this exciting box that we got a glimpse of last time, with the Luna, the Leonhardt, obviously the Theon's in there, who is clearly Sanie's true waifu, but he does have to represent Ashemar at least first here. Yeah, the Agnes first ban is awesome. And let's give Sanie some credit. He's a very smart player, so that's not just in reaction to what we saw last game. It has to do with his box plan as well. So we also have the Grenier over here. We have Himiko. We do have Jugler on both sides. We do have Lana over here. We do have Clotaire over here. So, Clotaire on both sides as well. So these guys probably play similar style, going AoE rush when possible, and resorting to assassins if that's the better play. So we can see already that Kitten is second picking. I was going to say first pick. It's basically first pick. It's the first pick that you have the option to choose. Going Kyra for that nice rangy assassination potential. I know I said I was going to go take a quick break while this band pick is going on, but I'm just so interested in these boxes that I want to call it as it happens. Maybe they'll take like 2 minutes of their backup time counting tiles on the first turn, and I can get away with topping up my drink then. So we do get the Leonhardt in here. I guess that early pick Kyra is also to kind of take the edge off Sanie's incoming AoEs as well, since Kyra has that reactive anti-AoE healing. And then Snap picks the Omega third. Pick and ban going nice and quick with these two players. They know what their game plan is, and they just want to execute. So third pick Luna here. That is going to help with the incoming magic damage from someone like Kyra, but more importantly, it's also going to speed up Sanie's whole team. If he ends up needing that speed boost, because Leonhardt can teleport in. Grenier's a tank. So Grenier here is a really interesting pick, because so far what we have from Kitten is 3 units who can ignore guard. So it makes me wonder, what is Sanie's game plan with this Grenier? I know Grenier, before he changed to Theonomy, Grenier was his, like, theme unit. So we can only assume he has a very strong, well-built Grenier that he knows all kinds of sneaky little tactics for. So we want to see some Grenier action. Even against 3 assassins. Maybe Grenier just... I mean, I guess he has the option of bringing an AoE himself that makes the enemies take more damage from Grenier, so maybe his plan is to be the unit that they have a hard time killing. Okay, Kitten is bringing his Kitten to this battle again. We saw his Kitten unfortunately get kind of erased last game, so maybe Kitten does a little bit more with Kitten in this game. And last pick, we've got this Lana. Okay, I'm going to take that opportunity to sneak away. I will be right back with more beverage and hopefully get caught up on turn 1. Be back. We only had time to go for a soda beverage. Probably not going to be the best thing. But maybe those bubbles will help me throat. We will see. Got a nice sody beverage. All right, what do we got here? What do we got here? We have a faction buff accelerated aid Epsilon over here who has accelerated the aid out of Omega. Kind of a similar setup that we saw in Game 1, Saber employing. We've got this Big Mac on the water with a nice waypoint tile way up front there, which is definitely going to help all these units. Okay, Omega coming into the action right away, just as poor old Kong gets back down. It's for an Omegage. What's he gonna kill here? Is he gonna kill this Lana? Or is he... He's gonna go for the Ashemar again! The emotional damage Ashemar kill right away. And he's actually able to run back to relative safety. So the old Omega plays with impunity. It's definitely been an Omega Fest today. I haven't seen too much of the rest of the tournament, but I don't remember it being this Omega heavy. So an attempt to explode that Omega from afar with Lana. It was a good try. I mean, this Omega's hurt now. Lionheart has to be wondering about what his chances of teleporting in somewhere, like onto one of these nice big city wall tiles, and then surviving Kyra. Sanie does have turn priority though now, after that Ashemar death. So regardless, if he teleports in somewhere that keeps him relatively safe from Kyra, or if Kyra's simply unable to kill him, she can definitely reach him there. The question is, can she kill through these beefy Guardian infantries on defensive terrain with 30% damage reduction? Probably not. She has an attack buff, but no damage buff. And then Sanie gets to open the next round with probably another big AoE explosion that is likely to kill this Omega. But the problem is going all in for a big AoE kill on that Omega worth whatever position it leaves Sanie in? Because we're still going to have Epsilon. I mean, I guess the Kyra won't be buffed anymore if she's missing allies. So that's a consideration as well. So the question now, is Sanie going to take that Omega down with Lionheart AoE damage? Yes. Sword Breath is really just free healing for Kyra. Okay, he chooses to run back. He is going to bring out the Avatar, though. Not saving that for more offensive use next turn. Is he going to try for a long-distance stun with this guy? Yes, he is. He's going to try to stun Kyra. He gets the stun. What's the percent chance on that? 25% chance he gets it. That Kyra is down. Okay, and we have confirmed in the Discord that Valabar is free and able to play today. So in worst case scenario for their team, if Sanie loses this match against Meow Sensei, we will have another match. Okay, Meow keeping this very elevated pace going by charging in with Alpha and unleashing her 3C to injure the rest of Sanie's team. Luna coming in now to really open up the middle of the map for Sanie to let him move around much more easily, but also, importantly, to get some magic damage down on the rest of his team for after Kyra wakes up. So this is really a fully unbuffed Kyra now. But if Sanie's only weapons are to AoE around this Alpha, even if Kyra's not really doing tons of damage, she'll be doing some healing, and she will be doing some like bounce back reactive healing after Sanie's AoEs. Yeah, and Kyra's not the only weapon either, right? We have this Epsilon here, who finishes off the real Leonhardt, so Leonhardt is gone. Epsilon has advanced under guard, so the only way Sanie's going to be hitting him is with AoEs. Grenier charging right up into the middle of the map. Yeah, I really think the plan for this Grenier is to just be huge in mid and let Meow's characters die on him. We'll see if that's how it plays out. That's what it looks like Grenier is doing here. Grenier really hates buff stripping, and I don't think Meow has any buff stripping on his team right now. Grenier kind of heals himself a little bit on his own tiles. But yeah, other than that, he's not going to have any healing, is he? Meow not taking the bait, not attacking into that Grenier with Captain Mac. He just gets into guard range and now eats a black hole. Oof. Kyra's healing is not enough to keep up with that big damage. And Grenier finishes her off now. She was dangling way back there out of guard range thanks to that stun. She had to just end her turn and couldn't move up. Grenier able to pick her off. And then he does counter kill Alpha. Now it's definitely looking like that Grenier parked on a thumbs up tile is going to be difficult to deal with. We do have 4 stacks on this Epsilon, but he does not have his 3C available yet. I never see SP Lana's bring phase shift, so this is an interesting one. She teleports back there after she acts next, right? So this gives her 75% damage reduction and healing after battle. That's really a stall tactic. Mac has to decide if it's possible for him to do anything. So the little Leonhardt clone there just pops off his last remaining micro AoE to bust Epsilon's shield. Lana does not have any AoEs coming for the next several turns. So Sanie is essentially going to have to become Delaney while he waits for cooldowns to come back and waits for Grenier to essentially dissuade Meow from attacking into him. Alpha does have her AoE back, so that is damage that can go on Sanie's team quite safely. The Luna is also not under guard. So Mac could attack her with ranged air slash, yep, without leaving guard, and that is exactly what happens. Not enough to kill. Epsilon does not have range yet, so he can't get a free shot at this unguarded Luna without leaving guard himself, which he does not want to do. Now, is that going to teleport her somewhere? Yeah, far away. Somewhere far away. But it's also not something that Meow can get at. Alright, now that that turn is over, Epsilon has his 3C back, but he's also going to have to faction buff soon. Ooh, Grenier just barely misses the final kill on that Alpha. And then polishes her off with the Leonhardt clone. This little guy! So Alpha is now gone, means KittenOverlord is without a waifu and without a tank. All he has left is a fully stacked up Epsilon who's ready to go for one move. He'll lose his faction buff after this. And he does have a completely unbuffed Mac with no attacks. We do have the poor little Leonhardt clone is out of guard range, but that's not something I think that Kitten is going to be prioritizing killing too much. Really, the Grenier is the main threat. The Lana is quite a threat as well, but she has a revive thanks to these Redeemers, so even if Epsilon manages to chew through her with his big 3C, I think she just revives. And the Luna is not really a threat either, more of an annoyance. I mean, her faction buff is really enabling this Lana. So Kitten has to be thinking about a way to get through that Grenier. Honestly, Epsilon 3C into this, you need the Grenier dead. But a bunch of attack doesn't help that much when it's into this much defense. He also has that added counterattack range too, so he has to... I mean, he can take a counterattack from Grenier because he has a shield. But then it just opens you up to getting eaten by, you know, basic attacks from Lana. Okay, so he's gonna go for the low-hanging fruit. It's an easy kill on Luna, and then he's gonna be hoping that he can just park on this fortress tile and buy himself some more time. Lionheart Clone gets the stun again! 2 25% rolls in a row! So this Epsilon is a sitting duck here now. Sanie's just going to be able to pick away at him this turn. Mac going for the body block. He's braving it. He's attacking into the Grenier. This could be a counter kill. Sure enough, yeah. Grenier is just impossible to get through now. ATN can feel the RNG excuses building up. Yeah, I mean, this Epsilon has nothing now, right? He has defaction buff. He has no shield. You know, Grenier could just auto-attack into him from the fortress if he wanted to. But Sanie is going to play patient. He knows that he has an invincible Grenier here. So all he has to do is crowd into the mid, keep his team protected, and gradually overwhelm this Epsilon. Epsilon still needs another turn before he even has his 3C back. So he still needs to sit somewhere safely. Oh, he's not going to do it. He's going into Grenier. This is going to be a dead Epsilon here. No, not dead, but close enough. But Sanie now has 3 attacks that he can unleash into this thing. And that is it. So the reverse sweep of Meow Sensei did not come to pass. He did extend this tournament by a little bit and keep us interested that much longer with a very excellent Omega versus Omega game, last game. And then SanieHarry comes in, captain of the team, to lead his team to victory, secure the final victory, cleaning up after all that hard work that Saber did for the past few games. And yeah, that is it. ATN says in the chat, Lana was the true waifu all along. I would say Leonhardt's clone was the true waifu all along, with 2 big stuns there. And that is going to be the conclusion of the Waifu Wars tournament, with Team Ashemar beating Team Alpha 3 games to 1. 3 games to 1. Yep. All right, here, just because I know you want it, ATN, in the Discord now, Meow Sensei says, GG, there's no counterplay to 100% stun Leonhardt clone. And Sanie says, sorry, I suck, so I need the RNG. So we will just leave that there. I'm sure there's going to be some more beef happening behind the scenes. But that's it for the Waifu Wars tournament today. It means we do get to eject before the Dobermans have to come downstairs and swamp me. And I can use the Dobermans as my own RNG excuse for why I'm about to lose a bunch of games in regular Apex Arena coming up. But I'm going to go rest my voice now. I'm going to get some of that tea. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get any fresh homegrown cabbage from Anakin. I was going to make some coleslaw, sadly. I'm going to have to use my own non-fresh, non-homegrown cabbage for that. But thank you everyone for coming out and watching Waifu Wars. It was a very interesting tournament. I'm 100% sure there's going to be another Waifu Wars tournament. I don't know when it's going to be. But I think they're going to tweak the rules a little bit. Maybe tweak the bans, because we found throughout the course of this tournament that there were some very OP units, and they may not want them in play. There will be more teams with different waifus. I'm sure that the interest generated from this, there's going to be other players who come in and say like, oh, I want to play on team whoever. Team Tatalia. She might be too OP now, though, for this. Even though we never got to see her. She was in someone's box, but she never got deployed. But she did recently get her exclusive headgear, so that may tier her out of the rules for this tournament. But in addition to more Waifu Wars, we're also going to have some Summit der Langrisser. I know the Summit season is on right now. We typically don't start streaming those games until the elimination matches start happening, but I'm going to be here streaming Summit der Langrisser games. And then, of course, we're also going to have normal Apex Arena stuff happening as well. So stay tuned to the channel. Thanks so much to everyone who came out, and thank you for watching. Good luck in your own Apex games. Happy Langrissing, everyone.